Am I the asshole for storming off from my sister's wedding after she deadnamed my son? I'm a 45-year-old single father of 3. Their mom died 10 years ago. I have 3 sons, 17-year-old Andrew, 15-year-old Connor and 14-year-old Max. Connor was born female, he is trans. He came out as trans 5 years ago, and has now socially transitioned, not yet physically. My sister, 38F, just got married. Me and my sons were also invited. My family has known that Connor is trans for 2 years now, some have adjusted well, some not so much. My sister is pretty indifferent about it. Her wedding was really super well organized to the last detail. She wanted all the men to wear shirt plus tie and then women sundresses. I texted NHER a picture of our outfits the day before the wedding, and she said, "Where's Nia's dress?" I was a bit surprised and told her not to deadname my son and that he'll be wearing a shirt and tie like the rest of men there or we aren't coming. She said, "Fine," and that was it. At the reception, my sister got mad that Connor was wearing a tie, but didn't say much after that. When we sat down at our table, the card, Nia. I went to my sister and she said she used their real name. I told her me and the boys are leaving and she told me, "Don't you dare cause a scene at my wedding. Nia can be a guy any other day." I called her a bigot and we left. My family says I ruined her wedding. He can be a man any other day? What a ridiculous thing to say. Well, sister theoretically could be an asshole any other day too, yet here we are. Not the asshole. Good on you for standing up to her in support of your son. Edit. Thanks for the awards y'all. Not the asshole, long con idea though. She got married, right? She was Miss Smith, let's say, she's now Mrs. Jones, right? Conveniently forget the Jones and call her Smith. I mean that's what you've known her as your whole life, so it's hard to change what you've called someone their whole life even if they prefer you call them something else. Not the asshole. I don't quite understand all this transitioning stuff, but it looks to me like you respect your child and you demanded that your sister respect him also, and she didn't. If anyone created a scene, it was her by putting Nia on the name card. You did the right thing. Not the asshole. Your family, on the other hand, take the cake in that. Good for you for sticking up for your son. Not the asshole. If she wanted you at her wedding, she should have respected your son's identity. Not the asshole. First, you're a hero for protecting your kid. Never feel sorry for that. Second, your sister isn't indifferent to your son being trans. She's actively a transphobe. Nobody accepting or even indifferent would repeatedly use a dead name. Honestly, in your position I'd just cut her out. Am I the asshole for wearing the same color as the bride as a wedding harpist and not changing? So I, F18, was asked to play the harp at a friend of my father's wedding. Normally, I would ask for payment beforehand, but since it was a family friend, they asked if they could just pay me at the reception and I told them yes. The dates worked out for me, and it was set in a church about 1 hour from my house. I showed the dress I planned to wear to the bride when we went over the music she wanted and at the rehearsal, but only on a hanger. It looks like it would be ugly on a hanger, as it's just navy blue with long sleeves and floor length, but it's surprisingly pretty. I got to the venue about 4 hours early, so my harp would have time to acclimate to the room. When I got there, the bride's mother came to give me my corsage, and when she saw me, she demanded I change my dress. I laughed because I've known her for years, and then realized she wasn't joking. I asked what was wrong with it and she said that the bride went with a non-traditional dress that was also navy blue. I panicked a little, because this is her wedding and I felt really bad, but she and her groom had approved it twice. I told the mother, and she asked if I had any other color I could change into. I don't bring extra dresses unless my dress somehow doesn't get approved beforehand, so I didn't. She then told me to go to the bridal shop 20 minutes away, and buy a new dress. I refused, because those dresses would cost about what I was getting paid for this wedding, and I told her I couldn't afford it. I felt bad, but she begrudgingly walked away. The actual wedding went smoothly, and after everyone else had left the church and congratulated the bride, I stopped to talk to her. I explained what the mother-in-law said, and she said that it was fine and that they weren't thinking when they approved my dress. At the reception, when I talked for her mother-in-law about payment, she refused to pay me. I didn't want to cause a scene, but the bride came over and heard us talking. This time, she was also upset with me and also refused to pay me. I didn't know what to do. As my parents were busy and couldn't attend this wedding, I didn't have anyone there to back me up. A lot of people assume harpists come from a lot of money because of how expensive harps are, but I've been renting a harp since 4th grade, and when my teacher passed, we bought it for an amazing deal. I also charge a lot less than most musicians would. But I have a college payment due in a few days and I can't afford it. I got my parents involved when I got home, and my dad talked to his friend, the father of the groom, who was there when they approved the dress, and he got the payment to me. I still feel really bad, but I don't think there was anything I could have done. Should I have just sucked it up and bought a new dress? Am I the asshole? Not the asshole. You had it approved twice and the bride was okay with it. Glad your parents backed you and you got paid. Not the asshole. This was a business transaction and you held up your end of the deal. The dress was approved, twice. They had no reason to refuse payment. Girl, no, they just wanted to stiff you. You did every T you were supposed to. In future, invoice clients and keep electronic records in case things escalate in ways you cannot mitigate via fatherly intervention. NTA. Not the asshole. In future, get prepayment for your services because this will not be the first shakedown you encounter by people trying to get your talent without payment. Honestly, if brides choose a non-traditional color aside from white, ivory, chance are that someone will be wearing the color of their dress. That's not anyone else's problem aside from the bride if it's not explicitly been discussed with the guests. Not the asshole. I'm going to say this may have been set up in advance so they wouldn't have to pay you. They may have thought you were a friend of the family and you should have done it for free. After all, the bride was cool until it came time to pay. Lesson learned for you. Get at least half as a deposit for everyone. Not the asshole. The couple approved your dress. What the heck were you supposed to think? Am I the asshole for telling family members the truth about my parents at my sister's graduation party? There's backstory that I need to tell. I, 22F, have two younger sisters. Amy is 18 and just graduated high school. I can't think of a family whose parents so blatantly favor one child over their other two, as much as my family does. My parents are obsessed with volleyball. Both played in college and that's how they met, played at the same school. When I was young, they did everything in their power to get me interested in playing. I wasn't. I'm a theater gal. Amy got interested at a young age. They knew from when she was young she had a lot of talent. Amy has played on her school and club teams basically since she was in 5th grade and was the best player. She's now going to a Division I school on a full-ride volleyball scholarship. My parents' lives are all about Amy. Examples. Our main fridge has 20 different magnets of Amy's volleyball pictures. There's one picture of me when I played Cat in the Hat in 8th grade on the side of it. None of littlest sister. Parents ordered custom replica jerseys for Amy's club team so we all can wear them. Has our last name and Amy's number. Parents force us to wear them. We've done it in a Christmas card. They also force us to go to all of Amy's games. But I don't think Amy has ever been to one of my plays. Even in college, her excuse was always valid to skip my plays, but my excuse was never valid to skip her games. In our basement we have one of those life-size fat head stickers on the wall of Amy spiking a volleyball. For the last 2 years Amy made this like all regional select volleyball team. But my parents fucking paid hundreds of dollars to have the jersey put in a custom frame with the background being pictures of Amy playing volleyball throughout her life. That hangs in one of our family rooms. Every holiday we host, right after dinner almost like clockwork, you can see my mom hooking up her laptop to the TV. She's putting on Amy's game film for everyone. Every holiday. My youngest sister, 15, tries to be like Amy. She plays volleyball too but is clearly not at the level Amy was when she was 15. So my parents treat her volleyball like an afterthought. Amy also has some serious character issues I'd love to rant about but won't do it here. If you want that I'll do it in the comments. So Amy's high school graduation party was yesterday and maybe twice as big as mine was. When talking to family who asked me about Amy, I just said I wish my parents took an interest in my hobbies or me in general like they do with Amy. And it hurts to see the obvious favoritism. They agreed they've noticed it throughout my life too. After the party I was confronted by my parents because extended family actually took my side and said it wasn't fair. My parents just claimed ignorance. They had no idea what I was talking about. And that I apparently embarrassed them for spending the day talking smack about Amy. Maybe I was jealous about the party, but I couldn't deal with another Amy show while mom and dad act like they have one kid. Big not the asshole. Your parents suck. Permission to rant about Amy's issue here. I have popcorn ready and am invested. NTA, and now is the time to stick to your guns. Your younger sister is still a minor and obviously hurt by it as well. They need to wake up and stop favoring Amy if they want to salvage their relationship with you two before it's too late. And bullshit, they didn't realize it. I'm a mom of 3 and trust me, we're aware of playing favorites. It's something deep down a parent is perfectly aware of. Not the asshole. Honestly, I'm worried about your youngest sister. You have no interest in volleyball, but your youngest sister isn't as talented as Amy. That level of jealousy has me very concerned. Your parents suck. Please keep an eye out for your youngest sister. I believe she's a ticking time bomb. Edit. Grammar. Not the asshole, but there is a real chance your sister is going to be in for a rude awakening in college. She may well lose her scholarship if she can't balance academics, volleyball, partying. Hopefully you guys aren't going to the same university so your parents won't try to get you to help her. Definitely not the asshole. I hope you become a famous kick-ass actress while Amy becomes a has-been volleyball player. Your parents suck. Please tell us Amy's character flaws. Not the asshole. Theater is quite as difficult as volleyball, in its own way. And your parents need to appreciate that. And to hell with people who think sports are everything, and any other extracurricular is nothing. Theater, music, academics, etc. ETA. And, if people ask you directly, you have no obligation to lie just to make her party seem nice, when they skimped on yours. If they want you to say they treat the two of you fairly, and your interests fairly, then they actually have to do so, not expect you to be a liar on their behalf. Am I the asshole for telling my wife it's her fault she didn't have fun in our wedding? I met my wife almost 2 years ago through some common friends. When I met her, she was heavily pregnant with her ex-boyfriend's child, but her ex wanted nothing to do with her and the kid and dumped her. We got together a bit after she gave birth and I loved the baby like my own. The kid has just turned 2. Later on she got pregnant with our child and gave birth 6 months ago. I had proposed to her during the pregnancy and started planning the wedding straight away. While planning the wedding I made it clear how I'd like a kid-free wedding, but my wife was against it because she loves the vibes kids bring to weddings. She's also from the Balkans, so having kids at weddings is very important to her because weddings are usually family-oriented in her culture. We eventually came to a compromise and only allowed kids over the age of 10. She wanted to bring our kids as well, but I told her I'm against that because who's going to take care of them? She said our parents will help us out and I told her I am not going to ask my parents to babysit instead of having fun at my wedding. She said I'm being really unfair not trying to find a solution with her and how important it is to her to include our kids to the wedding. I told her she's the one who wants them there, so it's on her to find a solution. Her parents had said they'd help her out with the kids, but they ended up enjoying themselves during our wedding last weekend. My wife barely danced and got up at all because she was caring for the kids and running after them the entire time. She complained how everyone else enjoyed her wedding but her as a bride didn't even get to dance more than twice. I told her it's her fault and she shouldn't bring the kids in the first place, especially the 2-year-old, because she was the one causing the most trouble during the wedding, running around the whole time. My parents also scolded her and told her she's very entitled for expecting them to babysit the kids while they were having fun at their only son's wedding. My wife said we are all tush for not trying to see her point and how we all cared more about our own fun and comfort, and we tossed the bride to the side and she feels nobody gave a shit about her the entire time. Am I the asshole? Edit. A small disclaimer since people are asking. I'd only agree to hire a babysitter if my wife decided to leave the kids at home. I didn't want a babysitter at the wedding. The reason is that I didn't want a stranger at my wedding. My wife knew I wouldn't agree on a babysitter to attend the wedding so she can watch the kids. She didn't find out last minute. She could communicate better with her friends and family to help her out if having the kids there was that important to her, and she also wanted to enjoy herself. Info. Who was supposed to watch the kids if they hadn't attended the wedding? Couldn't you have arranged for that babysitter to watch the kids at the wedding? Info. Did you propose because she got pregnant? Nothing you wrote actually implies to me you care about her in a meaningful way. Info. Why couldn't you have proposed a real compromise? You knew your solution wasn't going to be good enough. Your wife is right, you didn't care about her feelings. I bet this is just the tip of the iceberg with you. Back-to-back pregnancies and punishing her like a child? Unless you were personally friends with every single service person involved in the wedding, you have no excuse to refuse a babysitter. You are the asshole. You are the asshole. Why the fuck did she marry you? You are the asshole. She gave birth 6 months ago. I wouldn't want to leave a baby that young with a sitter either, personally. I don't think she's being unreasonable there. I told her she's the one who wants them there, so it's on her to find a solution. They're both your kids. Not just her kids. So you absolutely should have, parented. Her parents let you both down, not just her. But your attitude of, not my problem, isn't what marriage or parenting is about. You're supposed to be a team.